Have you ever looked around you and thought, this is not the life I imagined? You expected to be further by now. You thought at this age you have a career, a home, a relationship, a family, but it's still all not there. And that hurts. If you recognize this feeling, then this episode is for you. Hi, I'm Tom and welcome to the Dopamine Factory, where today we dive deep into the topic of unmet expectations and the grief of losing something you never had. Most of us grew up with a silent timeline in our head. We watched romantic comedies thinking, one day that will be me. Or we looked at our parents thinking, one day I will have that too. Until somewhere in our 30s, we wake up with this quiet, painful truth. Some things simply haven't arrived. Not because we didn't try, not because we didn't want to, but simply because life didn't bring it. And suddenly it hits you. If it hasn't happened by now, will it ever? A thought that hurts deeply, but also a pain we need to go through if we ever want to move on. Imagine your life as a long dining table, where each phase of life, love, career, family, adventure, is a chair around it. When we are young, we assume that every chair will fill eventually. Friends, partners, opportunities, all taking their seats in due time. We even imagine how beautiful our table will look like when everyone finally arrives. But as the year passes by, we look down our table and realize some chairs are still empty. And even if you appreciate the chairs that are filled, the friendships you have, the experiences you got, there are quiet moments when the empty ones pull your attention. Moments where the silence of who isn't there echoes louder than the joy of who are there. Not because your life is bad, but because you were looking forward so much to the people, milestones and version of you that never showed up. This is where we need to be strong, as we need to learn how to enjoy the meal in front of you, even when some chairs at the table stay empty. With the quiet courage of someone who can grieve for what never arrived and still find meaning in what did. So why does it hurt so much when life doesn't give you the things you actually hoped for? It starts with something psychologists call ambiguous loss. The pain of grieving for something that never actually existed. And as there's no ending, breakup or final event to it, your mind keeps reopening the wound, trying to process something it can't fully grasp. Then there's the alternative you problem. Your brain constantly carries a picture of who you expected to be by now. Being a partner, having a family, having a career. And where your reality doesn't match that inner version of you, that gap feels like pain, as you are behind your imagined life. And beneath all of this is our biology. Your nervous system reads falling behind as a threat, as evolution wired us to fear being out of sync with the group. So unmet expectations don't just feel sad, your body literally triggers fear. And this is where the real work begins, as we need to learn how to hold two truths at the same time. The sadness for what didn't happen, and the courage to build something meaningful with the things that did. There are few ways people cope when their life doesn't look the way they imagined. Here's a simple way to map yourself. If you feel something in your life is missing and you avoid looking at it, you are an ignorant optimist. You stay hopeful by pretending everything is fine, telling yourself it will happen eventually, while quietly delaying the life you actually wanted. If you see what is missing in your life, but you try to outrun that feeling, you are a desperate striver. You stay busy, chase goals, fill your calendar, anything to avoid sitting still long enough to feel the disappointment underneath. If you see clearly what's missing in your life, but you feel powerless to change it, you're a wounded realist. You feel the gap deeply, but the weight of that truth just freezes you, feeling everything, changing nothing. And lastly, if you acknowledge what is missing in your life and still move gently towards what is possible, you are an empowered griever. You grieve the life you didn't get without losing sight of the life you can still build. And while every type of grief has its function, only the empowered griever truly moves forward. So, how do you grieve? Most people don't admit this, but it's true. We all compare our lives to others and assume that those others have a full table with every dream fulfilled, while ours looks half empty. But the truth nobody tells you is that everyone has empty chairs. Some people just hide them better. And this realization matters, as it softens our own shame, makes the silence less lonely, and takes the pressure down. A real shift in our mindset happens when we stop obsessing over the chairs in life that were never filled and start noticing what you can still build with the ones that did. One of the biggest reasons people feel unhappy is because they spend years waiting for things that never came. And sure, some parts of your life you can control. For this, remember, nothing arrives automatically. So dare to get proactive and shift your mindset from one day to why not today, before opportunities turn into regret. For the things you can't control, realize that acceptance isn't giving up, it's ending your fight with unchangeable. The harsh truth is, some of your dreams will stay empty, some opportunities won't return, and some versions of you will remain fiction. But this emptiness does not have to define you. A deep acceptance of how things are lets you grieve without collapsing and let you feel your emotions without drowning. It's the moment you stop chasing the life you should have had and start creating the life you can still have, starting today. And if this content touched you in any ways, I would be keen to get your comments and hear your experiences. Thank you again for watching, and I love to see you in the next one. Much love, Tom.